Hey everyone, welcome to RYGR Sports. My name is Yash,
And I'm Logan.
and today we'll be talking about the three biggest players from this NFL draft: Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, and Carnell Tate. Now, we're going to start with the big one, the number one overall pick, Fernando Mendoza on the Raiders. I feel like he's played pretty solid so far. Obviously, we haven't seen him against a full starting team. Um, but what he's shown me, what he's shown everybody, that he's kind of got that leadership mentality. We saw it when he was in college. We see it now in the NFL. He threw an 80-yard pick six in his second game, which is absolutely heartbreaking as a quarterback. But it was great to see him go out and get right back into it. He looked completely unbothered by it, really. And I believe a pick six is probably one of the hardest things mentally on a quarterback because not only did you turn the ball over, but you're getting the ball right back. You're getting immediately back, but now you're down 7 points. So, kind of see him lead his team, kind of see him completely focused even after that. Um, I feel great about him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. Now, I know the Raiders aren't necessarily a great team. They do have a decent defense. They have a couple weapons on the outside, but there's nothing that really stands out to me aside from Brock Bowers. And so I'd really like to see how Fernando Mendoza does. I know it is his rookie here, he's number one overall pick. He's going to have a lot of expectations. Um, but I think he's probably not going to meet a lot of people's expectations in the first year, not because he's going to play bad, but because people's expectations are going to be way too high. But I do think that he's going to be a very solid quarterback in the NFL, and I'm really excited to see what he does in week one.
Yeah, I think uh, Mendoza's going to be fine. I mean, I saw the pick six live the other day against Houston Texan defense. It wasn't a good throw. It wasn't a good decision. But that's what you're going to get with a rookie quarterback. He's going to sit behind Kirk Cousins. He's not going to start. Kirk Cousins is going to start the first couple games, I think, and they'll kind of play it by ear. But Kirk Cousins is a great mentor to look up to. Veteran quarterback, knows how to get the job done. Um, so I think, Fernando Mendoza is going to be fine. The throws that I did see from him, he looked pretty good. A lot of quick decision making. He's not sitting in the pocket. I think this kid's going to be good. I know it's a limited amount of, tape that we do have on him against an NFL defense. Um, but I think sitting behind Kirk Cousins for a year, maybe half a year, will give him not necessarily game experience, but just experience being in the NFL. And we've seen this a lot from guys like Jordan Love, who sat behind Aaron Rodgers for a while. There's a couple other guys that really, you got to give them a little bit of time to really get adjusted to this NFL lifestyle. But I think, being a number one overall pick, he's going to be fine. But we don't have a whole lot of tape on him yet, so it's kind of hard to really, go off of the few drives that he has played. Moving on to our next rookie, we're going to cover Jeremiah Love. He's actually hurt right now. I think it was a sprained ankle or something. He tweaked it in one of the preseason games. So he's not 100% right now. But from the few carries that we did see out of him, he looked like a monster back there. I mean, he did have 11 carries for 58 yards. That's over 5 yards a carry, caught three balls. I mean, if he's healthy for the entire season, I can easily see this guy as kind of a three down back, especially because he's good in the receiving game too. That's always important for an NFL running back. The sky's the limit for this guy. Coming out of Notre Dame, easily the most dominant running back we saw in college football last year. And what really surprised me, he was going in like the second round in fantasy drafts. Now, I was never going to draft this guy just because I actually did draft Carnell Tate in my fantasy draft, but usually I'm not going to take a rookie just because there's no data to go off of. But usually we see running backs kind of, we don't really see a whole lot of busts at running back. I mean, it is a position in the NFL that is relied on the line. It's relied on quarterback play. It's a position that you don't really need to be, the highest skilled guy on the field. If you got a good offensive line, can catch some balls, you're going to be good. But Jeremiah Love definitely is one of those running backs that's going to have a good career. I think he's Saquon Barkley esque in his skill set, where he can catch the ball. He can, truck people. He's a monster. I mean, this guy's 212. It's pretty large for a running back, so I think he's going to be fine. The injury is not something I'm really concerned about right now. I think he will play week one, and the Cardinals are not going to be great this year, so we're probably not going to see too many touchdowns. I'd be surprised if he scores more than 10 touchdowns on the year. But definitely, Jeremiah Love is a guy that definitely will turn into probably a top five running back in the NFL over the next coming years. I mean, I don't think we're going to see his full potential right now in his rookie year on a bad team, but I have no worries for Jeremiah Love. I think he's going to be a great NFL player.
Yeah, so I do have pretty high hopes for Jeremiah Love, especially seeing the small amount of workload that he had these last 2 weeks. I do actually think that Jeremiah Love is going to be a top 10 running back by the end of the season if he's able to stay healthy, which is kind of a big if because he's already hurt. That being said, I think he gets around 10 touchdowns for the season, maybe like 1,500 total yards, like rushing and receiving. Um, Now, the team around him is not that great, obviously. He does have to play the Seahawks twice a year. He has to play the Rams twice a year. And they have to play the 49ers twice a year. So it's very tough for defenses. 6 games out of the 17 that you're playing. Um, there's not much hope for the Arizona Cardinals, as we know. And you know, I think he's gonna have to be like their entire offense, which is a big load to kind of put on a rookie running back. But I think he's gonna be up for the challenge. I don't think he's gonna really be able to result in Arizona winning much games just because of how bad the rest of the team is. Um, but I do have high hopes for the kid, and I think he's gonna be a great running back. I do think at a certain point in his career, he probably is gonna be a top 2 or 3 running back. My skill set is definitely there. Being a receiving back is huge. Obviously, we've seen Christian McCaffrey and what he's been able to accomplish when he's healthy. So I'm kind of excited to see where this kid is able to go. Now, we got Carnell Tate on the Tennessee Titans. I am very skeptical on that. I know Logan did draft him in his fantasy league, but I don't actually have any. It's not necessarily Carnell Tate that I'm worried about. It's the quarterback play. Now, Cam Ward is going to be starting over Will Levis. I mean, I'm not going to argue that at all, but we haven't really seen Cam Ward play that much yet. And, you know, I just don't know because I feel like Tennessee is just never that great with quarterbacks. Their offensive line is always pretty mediocre. Um, the last time we really got good, consistent quarterback play for the Tennessee Titans was back in like 2018, 2019 with Ryan Tannehill. And he was average at best. I mean, he had his moments, but he was pretty average. They don't really have any other receivers outside of Carnell Tate. They don't really have any running backs that great. I know they got Tony Pollard, and that's really about it. So the defense is very questionable. I feel like they're going to be playing from behind a lot of games, which is probably going to help the development of Carnell Tate since they're going to have to throw a lot. But I wouldn't really bet on this kid right now too much, at least when it comes to fantasy aspects. I do think he's going to be a great receiver in the NFL, but I don't think he's going to be a great receiver for the Titans just because they don't really have anybody that can, throw the ball that well. But I mean, I haven't seen how Cam Ward really plays, so I'm excited to see this season.
Yeah, Cardinal Tate, guy out of Ohio State, was easily their best receiver last season. Um, I think, Carnell Tate it's a high risk draft pick. The reason why I picked him, simply for the upside. He's the only, like, that Tennessee receiving room is not good at all. Their number two is Eric Iomanner, who, had a solid rookie year last year. But he's not one of those guys that's gonna, give you 1,000 yards. I think, if Carnell Tate is out there running routes, Cam Ward's gonna get in the ball because the kid is ultra talented. I mean, you watch the film, some of these preseason games that he ran. I know he was only out there for a quarter or maybe a half. We didn't see, a full workload out of him for any of these preseason games the Titans played, but the separation was there. So the kid definitely has a lot of talent, and he's a rookie. You can't expect this kid to go out there and give you 80 yards to 100 yards every game. That's just not how that's gonna go. But if you can get like 4 or 5 catches from him every game and like 50 to 60 yards, that is going to be really key for his development. Um, And Cam Ward is only going to get better. I was watching the game last night, preseason game against the Seahawks. Cam Ward looked pretty good. I mean, he was making some good decisions, making some accurate throws, and he's only going to get better. Kid was a number one pick for a reason. He's not, he's probably going to be pretty good in the NFL. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think Carnell Tate is definitely going to get better as the season goes on. We could see a slow start out of this kid. He didn't catch one ball in the preseason. He had 2 targets, no catches. Um, but yeah, I mean, wide receivers usually are pretty good coming out of Ohio State. I know Marvin Harrison hasn't really panned out in the NFL so far, um, but there's a lot of guys that went to Ohio State that are really good in the NFL. Terry McLaurin, um, a couple
JSN.
other guys. So I'm not really too worried. Say it again. Yeah, JSN, Ohio State. Yeah. So there's it's a good group of guys coming out of Ohio State. Pick number 4 overall. Obviously, Titans are really confident in this kid. You just got to give him time. I think Cam Ward's going to get him the ball. He is the number 1 wide receiver on this team, no doubt about it. There's no competition for targets. I mean, Carnell Tate is going to get the ball this year. It's just a matter of is he going to be consistent enough to pan out to. I think I drafted him in like the 6th round or something like that. Um, so we'll see. I mean, all 3 of these guys obviously drafted really high, huge ceilings. All 3 of these guys can be all pros. So, yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I know the season starts in I think 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, so it's coming up. Um, but yeah, we don't know, how well these all these 3 of these guys are going to play until we see it on the field. So we're gonna have to wait a few weeks, but definitely confident in all 3 of these guys. I don't think any of these 3 guys have bust written on them. I know in years past, there's been some players we really, were too confident in going into the season, but I have no worries for these 3 offensive players. I think all 3 of them are super important to their team and definitely looking for a good season out of Carnell Tate. I hope he pans out because that would be a bad draft pick if he's one of those rookies that gives you like 5 fantasy points a game. So we'll see. But that's all I have on these 3 guys. But I'm pretty confident in all 3. I don't think any of these 3 players are gonna pan out as busts in the NFL.
Yards just because of how bad the offensive line is. Not that the other 2 offensive lines are better for the other 2 players, but I think the Titans, I believe last season they were ranked like 30th or 31st, which is abysmal. So that does concern me a little bit because they made.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, NFL season starts in a few weeks. We'll probably come out with a 1 or 2 more NFL videos before the season starts, so stay tuned for those. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and comment which of these 3 rookies do you think will have the best rookie season. I'll personally go with Jeremiah Love just because I think the other 2 need a little bit more time to really, contribute at a good level in the NFL. So I'll go with Jeremiah Love. But Yash, what about you? Which rookie do you think? All right, guys. Well, you heard it here first. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys in our next video. See you later.